You're watching a Highwire Media podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Talking Texas Rangers show. I'm your host as always, Larry Lease. And this week we're going to dive into more headlines from around the Texas Rangers. Before we do that, don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. You can find the links in the description. And of course, leave a comment on the topics we covered and give me your thoughts on the Texas Rangers heading into the 2025 season. And with that, let's go into the first topic, shall we? So how does the 2025 Texas Rangers stack up against our AL West counterparts? We're going to have a realistic comparison on how the Rangers match up with the four other division opponents, including two likely to challenge them the most for the division title, the Astros and the Mariners. It's hard to remain unbiased as a fan while evaluating your team, especially when faced with the tough question of comparing them to division rivals you actively root hard against every day of the year. The 2025 Texas Rangers have some massive expectations from not only their point of view, but also the fan bases and the outside sources. While they want to get that bad taste of 2024 out of their mouth, the fan base expects a lot, and the national media continue to underrate them. With all that said, they should be among a favorite to win their division and make a deep run in the postseason. It's easier said than done because the makeup of the American League West, which has three potential contenders, including Texas. So trying to remain neutral, here's a fair comparison of the Rangers and their divisional counterparts. To give a fair comparison, we first have to discuss what the fair expectations are for the Rangers this season. Now, if you ask the players, coaching staff, and front office in Arlington, they'll say it's World Series or bust. It's not too far off from what experts around the league think as well. Depending on which website you visit, the Rangers season fluctuates in between a third place finish in the AL West with 83 wins to a first place finish and 90 wins. It makes sense to see a big difference between sites as these are updated daily, and I'm sure these models react to the Cody Bradford and John Gray injury news this week. The truth of the matter is anywhere between 84 and 90 is a realistic expectation for Texas, as anything can happen. This is essentially the same lineup that only recorded 78 wins in 2024, but the biggest difference is, as of now, they are all expected to be healthy, which wasn't the case last season. We'd very much love to see Texas have an explosive season and break the franchise record for wins in a season, which is 96, set by the 2011 AL champion team. Regardless, the consensus expectation is Texas will be better this year. It'll all come down to if they can stay healthy. So who are the Rangers' biggest competition for an AL West title? Entering the season, Texas's biggest competition are the two similar opponents, the in-state division rival Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Houston, Seattle, and Texas are locked in tight battles when you look at projected standings, with Fangraphs projecting a three-way tie at 84-78. With that, it would come down to the three teams' performances against each other. Both the Astros and Mariners have respective advantages and disadvantages compared to Texas. The Mariners have one of the most talented rotations in MLB, even with the absence of Logan Gilbert. But Seattle's offense was one of the worst in the league last year, and they failed to make any positive movement. For Houston, while they did lose Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker, they replaced them with Isaac Paredes and Christian Walker. But the pitching staff is injured and not necessarily the strongest. Since the Astros joined the AL West in 2013, the Rangers have won 2 division titles compared to Houston's 7. Texas will have to do something to separate themselves from the two teams if they want to get a good standing for the postseason and grab their second World Series in 3 years. If you want to look a little further into it, ESPN has Texas with the second best odds to win the division and 11th best odds to win the World Series at plus 2,500, tied with Arizona, Seattle, and Cleveland. To add context, these are based off MLB's projected rosters and lineups entering the 2025 season. So catchers for Texas, of course, it's Jonah Heim. Houston, it's Diaz. Seattle, Cal Raleigh. First base for Texas, Jake Bregger. Houston is Christian Walker. Seattle is Luke Raley. Second base for Texas is Marcus Semien. Houston is Dubon. Seattle is Bliss. At shortstop for Texas is Corey Seager. Houston is Jeremy Pena. Seattle is J.P. Crawford. Third base for Texas is Josh Young. Houston is Isaac Paredes. Seattle is George Polanco. In left field for Texas is Wyatt Langford. Houston is Jose Altuve. Seattle is Randy Rosarena. It's center field at Texas is Evan Carter. Houston is Chas McCormick. Seattle is Julio Rodriguez. And right field for Texas is Adolis Garcia. Houston is Jake Myers. For Seattle, it's Victor Robles. And at DH for Texas, it's Jock Peterson. Houston is Jordan Alvarez. And Seattle is Mitch Haniger. And of course, on the bench for Texas, it's Kyle Higashioka, Leody Taveras, Josh Smith, and Kevin Pillar. Houston, it's Ben Gamble, Victor Carini, John Singleton, and Luis Gilmore. Seattle, it's Mitch Garber, Donovan Solano, Dylan Moore, Miles Mastrobuoni. Of course, apologies if I'm butchering everybody's names wrong. Starting rotation for Texas is Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, Tyler Mahle, Jack Leiter, Dane Dunning. For Houston, it's Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, Ronel Blanco, Spencer Getty, and Hayden Wesnecki. Seattle, it's Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, and Emerson Hancock.
Whether it's opening day, a rivalry showdown, or another October run, fingers crossed, you need the best seats for the best price, and that's where Game Time comes in. Game Time is the fastest, easiest way to score last-minute tickets to Rangers games. No stress, no sketchy resellers, just killer deals on seats you actually want. And the best part? They show you exactly what your view looks like before you buy. No surprises. Just baseball the way it should be, live and loud at Globe Life Field. Say goodbye to ridiculous fees and hello to Game Time's best price guarantee. If you find a cheaper ticket somewhere else, they'll credit you the difference. That's how confident they are that you're getting the best deal. Don't wait, use the link in the description and go get your ticket to the next Rangers game. And get ready to be there when the magic happens. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed, and that's Game Time. And now back to our episode.
And with that, let's go into our next topic. For the Rangers, signing one of the worst pitchers in baseball isn't a solution to the Rangers' issues. The Texas Rangers needed a solution to all of their early injuries to key starting pitching contributors. With the signing of Patrick Corbin, is it a look to return to form or a sign of desperation? The key injuries to key contributors early in spring training to John Gray and Cody Bradford, the Rangers were forced into a tough decision. They needed to fill innings. This is what brings us to when the Rangers announced the signing of lefty Patrick Corbin to a one-year deal. Corbin threw 507 innings over the last 3 years, so it does help alleviate the pain, but still makes no sense. Corbin has been nothing short of terrible the last 3 years in Washington. His ERA, strikeouts, home runs allowed, and walks per 9 innings are terrible. His advanced stats are even worse. He also allows a lot of base runners and surrenders runs at a high rate. There hasn't been a highlight since winning the 2019 World Series with the Nationals. This comes off as a cry for help and a temporary stop to a potential long-term problem with the injuries, and it's taking away from what should be the real talking point this season, the offense. Gray hit the injured list with the addition of Corbin on Tuesday, and Bradford's timeline is a bit more uncertain. Tyler Mahle, who was scratched from his start on March 11th, but returned to the mound on Tuesday and pitched 6 innings, surrendering 2 runs and striking out 6 batters. While none of the injuries that are year-long currently, there is concern one of them may be more than projected. Bradford had elbow discomfort that will be shut down for 4 weeks, then reevaluated and determined the best course of action for his return. All of this has compiled quickly for the Rangers, which caused them to need quality inning eaters, but there are certainly better options than Corbin. Is the main rotation of Nathan Eovaldi, Dane Dunning, Leiter, Corbin, and Tyler Mahle really the rotation Chris Young and Bruce Bochy want to run out there to begin the season? deGrom has been injured almost an entire tenure. Kumar Rocker has terrible numbers this spring. Jack Leiter has been disappointing outside of his solid spring. but the latter two might get a rotation spot based off the uncertainty of the rotation. Another name worth mentioning is Adrian Helzer, who is looking for a spot in the rotation and is playing like he should get the spot. His performance this spring makes the addition of Corbin puzzling, since it could lead to Helzer getting the short end of the stick. Corbin's signing doesn't move the needle to the pitching problems, and it seems only health and a trade deadline move will be necessary for Texas to reach their World Series potential. If that's the case, why didn't they bypass Corbin and hit the market now? There are many prospects in our farm system that have no clear path to the majors based on the current roster construction, and it would be worth it to trade them now and capitalize on the potential of this team that Corbin can't do. My personal picks would be Sandy Alcantara, Sonny Gray, or Dylan Cease. Texas is looking to get the most out of a deal. They should consider trading with the St. Louis Cardinals, who have plenty of options. Maybe Chris Young can even convince St. Louis to send Ryan Helsley as well to bolster the bullpen. While unlikely, they can also go outside the box and acquire an arm like David Festa, Jose Quintana, Brandon Woodruff, or Bailey Ober. However, the trade market right now is usually ice cold until final roster cuts are made before opening day. This may be the plan to add more arms as guys opt out of minor league deals with other teams. The signing of arguably the worst pitcher in the MLB is a cry for help to me. It's puzzling to see why you would put a risk in the starting rotation to give up 6 runs every start while you're trying to contend. At the end of the day, this is an incredibly disappointing move when not only the trade market was in play, but also when Texas has promising non-roster invitee arms that have been performing and would be a better choice. While there is a chance that Corbin recaptures his form in Texas under pitching coach Mike Maddox, there is still little reason to believe it. Now we're going to take a look at 3 former Rangers that are struggling to find success with new teams this spring. It hasn't been the smoothest transition for a handful of former Rangers in their new homes this spring training. This offseason was probably the biggest change for Ranger fans in recent years, the departure of many beloved players, including these 3 that played instrumental roles in the team's resurgence and first World Series title. Starting off, Andrew Heaney. One of the most reliable pitchers for the Rangers in 2023 and 2024, Heaney was one of the last signings of free agency, signing a 1-year deal with the Pirates until February 22nd. Given his late signing, he's only appeared in 3 games for Pittsburgh, but he has an 11.25 ERA and 8 innings of work. Heaney is going to slot into a 4th or 5th spot in the Pirates rotation due to the young, talented front end. It was never going to be easy for Heaney this season after a tough 2024 campaign when he lost 14 games, recorded a 4.28 ERA and a 1.25 WHIP in 160 innings. What gives Heaney a good leg up, despite his poor production, is the fact he eats innings. The Pirates already have a weaker rotation once you get past the 2 stars at the top. Heaney is a veteran in the rotation with over 1,000 innings in his big league career. Regardless, he needs to figure it out because Pittsburgh will then be forced to make a move that will hurt his status with the team. Next up, Jose Leclerc. When Leclerc officially left to join the Athletics this offseason, it ended his 8-year tenure with the Texas Rangers. With his departure went the last rostered player to play a game at the Rangers ballpark in Arlington. His tenure was up and down with Texas, but ultimately his performance in the 2023 postseason secured his legacy among Ranger fans as one of the most beloved to wear Texas across their chest. However, his first couple of games in an A's uniform have not been super smooth. They haven't been terrible, but in 5 innings of work, he's compiled a 3.60 ERA, 1.60 WHIP, and a 2.63 opponent's batting average. Positive sign is his last 3 appearances have been scoreless outings with 6 strikeouts and a .100 opposing average. And then we have Nathaniel Lowe. Lowe was traded to the Washington Nationals in December, and that no doubt has to take a toll on a player. For 4 seasons, Lowe was entrusted with the first baseman spot in Texas, and every day would report to a familiar setting, either in Arlington or Surprise, trying to maximize his results. Now all of a sudden, he's with a new team, going to spring training in Florida and upending his entire life. Therefore, it makes sense that he'd be struggling to get going this spring, but a 172 batting average and nearly 30 at-bats, Not ideal for any scenario. Although he's only been in the league for 5 seasons, the 29-year-old is now considered to be among the more experienced players on a Nationals team which has an average age of 26 years old. It's likely not the way the Nationals have wanted his spring to go, but there is still a lot of optimism. Despite the tough 2024 season, Lowe is only 2 seasons removed from a year where he played 161 regular season games that ended in Gold Glove and 3 years removed from winning a Silver Slugger. Let me know your thoughts on these 3 former Rangers. Should there have been other ones we've included? Let me know. Now we're going to take a look at 2 Ranger players who've played their way onto opening day roster and 2 who've played their way off. Only 26 players can be on an active MLB roster, so which 2 Texas Rangers have played their way on the roster, and which 2 have played their way off? The Texas Rangers have tough decisions coming up as Major League Baseball only allows teams to carry 26 players on their active roster into the season. While most of the spots are accounted for, there are a handful of non-roster invitees, top-level prospects, and others that are battling for the final spots when Texas takes the field against the Red Sox on March 27th in Arlington. There are only 2 roster spots to fill at this point. Which 2 players have earned their spot on the roster and which 2 have underperformed their way off? So, 2 Rangers that have played their way onto the opening roster? We got to start with Adrian Houser. The veteran starter has very much stepped up and done everything that has been asked of him. The sad part is it was about to be for nothing a few days ago. But with the recent injuries of Cody Bradford and John Gray, he's likely going to start the year on the opening day roster. In 5 games, the 32-year-old has a 1.69 ERA, .94 whip, and 7 strikeouts and 10 2/3 innings of work this spring. The biggest question is what will happen to Houser when Bradford and Gray return. Will he get the boot, or will he remain on the roster in a Jose Urena-like role? Number 2, Kevin Pillar. Pillar is another non-roster invitee that has done everything he possibly could have to get a spot on the opening day roster. Due to one of the players on the other side of this list, it is appearing more and more likely he will be in Arlington on March 27th. The right-hander still plays top-of-the-line defense in the outfield, and his hitting against left-handed pitching is miles better than a few other offensive options on the Rangers roster. This spring, Pillar is hitting .296 with 8 hits and 27 at-bats. So, 2 players who have played their way off of opening day roster? Starting off with Ezekiel Duran. The time has come when the smartest move the Rangers can make is to move on from Duran. It's hard to really defend him other than point out that he does play solid defense, and his arm is one of the strongest on the roster, but his offense is terrible. Outside of the first half of the 2023 season, the 25-year-old has not done much to warrant wanting to keep him around. The rise of Josh Smith and the performance of Kevin Pillar this spring has made it much more possible for Texas to finally pull the trigger and move on. And finally, Kumar Rocker. I wanted to see Rocker in Arlington on opening day. It would be electric to hear his name called during introductions and to see him pitch in Globe Life Field, but his spring training performance has been one of the worst on the team. In 3 games, Rocker has a 22.85 ERA and 3.69 ERA, putting a bad miss with his fastball on Friday evening that hit San Diego's Fernando Tatis Jr. in the helmet. Now, the Bradford and Gray injuries might give him the chance to make the roster, but with the solid performances of Houser and his Vanderbilt teammate Jack Leiter, there's no need to rush Rocker if he isn't comfortable on the mound right now. So let me know your thoughts on these 2 players that made their way onto the roster and 2 that have not. What would you do with the 2 that have not? Should we keep them around or ship them off somewhere? And now we're going to take a look, of course, at 3 Ranger pitchers who have taken full advantage of spring training opportunities. These 3 pitchers entered spring needing to make a big splash with every appearance, and so far, they have answered that call. Texas Rangers did their due diligence this spring, going out and handing out a handful of minor league contracts to veteran pitchers that are looking to restore their career. By doing so, Texas might have found a few diamonds in the rough to enter the 2025 regular season with. Every team needs critical pieces to their roster that can provide depth, and there is really no more important positional depth on the baseball team than pitchers. While some of those additions during the offseason have been paid off, a handful of them have seen a high rate of success in the opportunities they have been given. With the recent injuries to Cody Bradford and John Gray, it will likely give some of the names on this list an additional boost to finish the season strong and find themselves a roster spot. So 3 Ranger pitchers that have taken full advantage of spring training opportunities. We're going to start off with Robert Garcia. Texas is counting on Robert Garcia to be a critical part of their bullpen this season. The 28-year-old left-hander came over to Texas from the Nationals in a trade this offseason that sent Nathaniel Lowe the other way. Garcia was drafted by the Royals in 2017, but since then has never really found his footing in professional baseball. In over 300 innings in the minors, he has a nearly 5.0 ERA, and his short stint in MLB hasn't been much different. But what the Rangers acquired him for was his advanced metrics light up red all over the place. After dealing with an injury that sidelined him to start the spring, he returned to action and is yet to give up a run in 4 innings of work. While the sample size is small and there's still a lot left in his development, Bochy has to be happy about the early returns they are seeing from Garcia. And of course, we got to mention him again, Adrian Houser. Perhaps the biggest acquisition that has given Bruce Bochy a lot to think about is veteran right-hander Adrian Houser. The former starter with the Milwaukee Brewers and New York Mets signed a minor league deal with Texas in December. Halfway into spring, he's pitched 10.2 innings, only giving up 2 runs, and holding opposing hitters to a 171 batting average. Houser, 32, is in desperate need of a career resurgence as his success has greatly declined over the last 3 years. A career starter, Houser was transitioned to a bullpen role last season with the Mets, only starting 7 of 23 games. His biggest competition is Dane Dunning, who is on a resurgence path of his own after a devastating 2024 season. It is a tough hill to climb to move past Dunning, but the recent injuries to Bradford and Gray likely give them both a chance to make the opening day roster. And next, Patrick Murphy. It might be time for Ranger fans to get to know the name Patrick Murphy. The 29-year-old right-hander from Arizona was a 2013 third-round pick out of high school by the Toronto Blue Jays, and more or less has been a career minor leaguer, only appearing in 35 career games in the big leagues. Murphy spent the 2024 season overseas in Japan. While there, he appeared in 40 games, compiling a .326 ERA and 30 strikeouts in 38.2 innings. He signed a minor league contract with the Rangers in December, which included an invite to big league spring training. So far, so good for Murphy, throwing 10 scoreless innings and 9 strikeouts spread out over 6 games. Right now, he is looking at starting the season in AAA Round Rock as a potential call-up early in the season when needed. But he could be a benefit from a few projected bullpen arms getting pushed into the starting rotation. And now on to our next topic. Nathan Eovaldi is set to break the Rangers' long-standing streak with his opening day start. Bruce Bochy announced that the right-hander will start the Rangers' opening day game in Arlington against the Red Sox on March 27th. It's official. The Rangers have their 2025 opening day starter and right-hander Nathan Eovaldi. It was more or less known since March 3rd, when manager Bruce Bochy announced that Jacob deGrom would be starting from the back of the rotation to kick off the season. While it wasn't confirmed until Sunday, pretty much a given that Eovaldi would get the nod. It will be Eovaldi's 5th career opening day start and 2nd straight with the Rangers, breaking a long-standing franchise streak. It will be the first pitcher to start back-to-back opening days for the club since Kevin Millwood started 4 straight from 06 to 09. Since then, Texas has started a different arm every season opener. Not only that, Eovaldi will become just the 7th pitcher in franchise history to make consecutive opening day starts. It seems odd that it's been 15 years since a Ranger has started back-to-back opening days in an era of Rangers baseball where they won a World Series, 3 American League pennants, and 4 AL West division titles. From 2010 on, the Rangers were put in evolving situations, with pitchers either moving to different teams, retiring, or underperforming the year prior, which has caused the team to pivot to a new arm every year. Cole Hamels was the most recent Ranger to start multiple opening days in Texas, doing so in 2016 and 2018, but the emergence of Yu Darvish in 2017 ruined his back-to-back chances. After that, the Rangers went through their depression era with Mike Minor, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson. Then John Gray started in 2022. deGrom got the nod in 2023, and Eovaldi's first opening day start with Texas last season. The Rangers rotation has taken a bit of a hit this week after, like we said, Bradford and Gray went down with injuries, but Eovaldi has been healthy, yet hasn't quite found his groove yet this spring. In 3 games, he's allowed 7 runs in 9 innings with opposing hitters. Despite the stats, there is zero concern among the Rangers organization given his track record. Opening day is set for March 27th at home in Arlington against the Red Sox. While Boston has yet to officially name their starter for the game, they have 2 options on the table, with newly acquired arms Walker Buehler or Garrett Crochet. Let me know your thoughts on the topics we covered in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up if you like our video, hit that subscribe button down below, and if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/TTRangers. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you in our next episode.